So let's see. Man, I don't know what's going on with these lights. It's like they're both red, so I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know which is gonna change. So usually when I'm crossing the streets, I look and I'm able to predict. So let's say I see this light over here, I'm like, okay, this light's green, their light's probably red, I'm free to go this way, you know, straight ahead. But let's say if I were to make a right at this light, it'd probably be hard because we have the green light in our way, and that green light is sending these cars to go and allowing them to go on about their way, and they'd be in our running path. So, but if you have them both red, that may be good for a short time, you know, as everyone stopped, but ultimately one of those sets of lights is gonna turn green. So from that, you might be in some danger. So let's see. So we got 3, 2, 1, and we are able to cross this street and see. So as we come up here, let's see what's going on. Whew. And one health tip that I'd say that really changed my life is the day I started taking vitamins. That's very important. Often people neglect those little suckers they call vitamins, and you don't have to obsess over them. You don't have to go out to GNC and buy literally every vitamin you can put your hands on, and because they got plenty of them. They got fish oil, they got you know, all the different types of vitamins. You'll see them when you go to the vitamin store, but you don't really have to stress over that. I mean, they may be good, everyone finds their little tips and tricks, you know, their specialties, but the main thing, the most important thing, is a multivitamin. Simply taking that, and I'll tell you this, the second I took that, when I went to use the bathroom, the things that came out were actually had some color in them, which is a good thing, because when you release your pee, in a sense, you don't want it to be clear. That means there's no nutrients in it. You've got no nutrients in your body supporting your functions. You're simply just digesting food and letting it out. Your body's not taking in anything really. So what you might have to do is take some vitamins to get those nutrients, because a lot of times the food that you eat is deficient in nutrients, has a depletion. It doesn't have all the vitamins that you need. The vitamin B's, which can be used for energy, vitamin C for your skin, vitamin D for your immune system. Those vitamins are very important, and without them, your body won't function correctly. So let's say, now, one thing I noticed immediately after I started taking these vitamins is I started feeling good, you know, going about my day-to-day life. Simply getting up out of bed quicker. When I go out here in the sun, I don't feel as drained as I used to. I used to simply feel like I was lacking something, like the sun was sucking something out of my soul, like, you know, the energy or whatever you call it. And while that may be true to a certain extent, because the sun, well, that guy, so the sun to a certain extent makes you tired, it dehydrates you because it makes it super hot out here, and you can feel a difference when you're in the shade. But when you have these nutrients, they better prepare you to survive these harsh conditions like this. And you can consider this harsh. It's super hot out here. The heat, you know, you can even see the heat waves. I don't know if you guys can see it through the camera lens, but they're moving. And whew, ultimately you got to be prepared to fight that. So in essence, one way you can do that is to take your vitamins and eat the right foods that are rich in these vitamins and proteins, and they'll give you that energy and that strength to fight, to grow out here like you see me out here and fight the battle of me against the sun and all the elements. Because although it's very nice to run under cloud cover and in cooler weather, you still want to be able to go out here when it's like this, because you'll realize is that if you can run out here when it's so hot and you ultimately see no one out here because it's too hot, you know you can handle any condition, which is a great feeling. You want to feel that. You want to be that guy in the gym when it's crowded and packed and everyone's going about, you know, possibly distracting you. You want to be that guy or girl that's able to, how do you say it, tune everybody out and focus on your workout, focus on what you're doing, because that's the important thing. And you'll realize that if you're able to work out in that crazy packed environment, you'll be able to work out when it's a normal environment, when there's not so many people and so many distractions around you. And you can also argue that some people, I'd say like me, after a while, my problem was, you know, at first, so having so many people watching me, I was very self-conscious of my workout. And over time, when the gym would be empty, because I got used to it being full, I wouldn't feel motivation. As funny as it sounds, the people that I would see there, even though I wouldn't interact with them, I felt like they were, you know, supporters of me. We support each other. We go pretty much at the same time and work out. But after a while of doing that, you get used to that feeling. And when they're gone, and when you work in an empty gym, which I have multiple times, you feel like a lack of desire, like this is boring. I'm just here working out, there's nothing else to that. So in order to tackle that, you can train yourself to handle both conditions, when there's people, when there's not people. Because I feel like deeply ingrained within us is a desire to communicate with others and to formulate these sort of bonds between to formulate these bonds between people, whether it may be consciously or subconsciously. You don't have to be speaking to these people. You need those, because if you just wander about in isolation alone, it might be quite hostile for you. You might, you know, ultimately be depressed and feel bad because you want something called human connection, which in and of itself is a big thing. Although you also might want to learn how to be alone, which is a great skill. You know, want to learn how to take care of yourself, how to handle the world all by yourself on your own, which in and of itself is an important thing. Because how can you make others happy? How can you have an understanding of what other people want and how to communicate and interact with others if you don't know what it is about yourself that highlights that? How to be alone, how to handle yourself, how to go about your daily business simply on your own. You know, if you have to, you know, go on a date by yourself, take yourself out to the movies, and you'll realize, you know, what it is that makes you happy. Whether it's simply just sitting in that chair, watching that movie, or falling asleep. But what you'll start to realize is that, oh, I don't know if we fell, but we kind of made that look cool, like it was a trick, like it was supposed to happen. So, yeah, and I've done that. And that was after, you know, going on with dates with other people, having good ones, having bad ones. But I was suggested the idea of taking myself out on a date. Even though that might sound cold and lonely, like, why would you do that? is it even a date at that point? Like, what are you doing, man? Or woman in that case. So with that, you gotta do it at least once, because it'll teach you these things that you would never realize about yourself. So doing that, and I'll tell you this, that having been on solo dates and solo adventures, it's made me a stronger person. When I'm dealing with others, when I'm out in the world and I'm in groups of people congregating, I'm happy. I'm not so worried about myself. I'm not so self-conscious, because I already know what my needs are, what I need to be done in order for the night to be quote-unquote successful or fun. Because I know, and here's the big point, I know what's gonna make me happy in the back of my mind before anybody else offers that. Now, that's not to say that you gotta be a selfish guy or girl that is simply self-concerned and self-absorbed, but you have the ability to satisfy yourself and allow others to enhance your life, be that cherry on top. They're not the cake, they're not the foundation. That comes from you in and of itself. So once you have that cake formed, you allow others to put that frosting on top, or that cherry, and they make that thing look beautiful and tasty and awesome. But without that, it's still a pretty awesome cake. So, and that could be stretched into the realm of relationships, because oftentimes a lot of people go on about their daily life looking for another person to spice up their life and enhance it. They feel like something's missing, and they try to solve that with a relationship.